Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Community Church of Chapel Hill, Unitarian Universalist. I'm Alexa Adamo Valverde, a member of the Worship Associates Ministry. We extend a warm welcome to all, especially visitors and newcomers. We're so glad that you're here, especially on this rainy day. Be sure to check out the special note for you on the back of the order of service, Welcome Guests and Newcomers. And please join us after service for our Sunday social. We also welcome those of you attending online. Lyrics to hymns and all elements of service may be found at the bottom of the screen, and a complete order of service, including weekly announcements, is on the church's website and in the Sunday morning email. Now, if you would, please turn off or silence any cell phones to maintain a worshipful experience. Whoever you are, whomever you love, and however you arrived at this beloved place, you are welcome here. And now we will hear from Lisa Epner about the nonprofit organization called Table for our Share the Plate.
Good morning, everybody. Oops, I have to hold this. Good morning. Table feeds hungry kids. Table has been feeding children in the Chapel Hill Carrboro area since 2008. They seek to meet the nutritional needs of these children by delivering food directly to their homes, such that transportation is never a barrier. I have toured their 8,000 square foot building on Main Street in Carrboro. One of the things that impressed me the most were not only the many volunteers filling bags, but they were in different categories. These categories adjusted for children's allergies. Then there was a category for vegetarian, vegan, and one for ethnic and religious, special diets, and then a general one. Each bag of food contains 60% fresh produce, with 35% of it coming from local farms and 40% healthy non-perishables. Once a month, a dozen eggs are delivered. In the spring of 2021, Table introduced Chefs at Home. Each child receives a recipe in their bag once a month to encourage them and their families to experiment with new foods, have fun in the kitchen, and maybe even be inspired to become chefs one day. Some of the vegetables in the past being featured were broccoli, zucchini, carrots, and last year, bok choy. Currently, there are 1,200 children that Table serves weekly and a waiting list of more for requesting meals. From these numbers, you can see that the need is really great. I'll have more information if you stop by in the Jones building during coffee hour. On the table, look for the display that may be either a tomato or a strawberry. I can't figure out which yet. And I'd like your opinion. In the meantime, please contribute what you can to help fill the bellies of these children when baskets are passed. If writing a check, remember to put STP Table in the memo line, and if you're online, click on the QR code to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Now please rise in body or spirit for our opening hymn, number 347 in the gray hymnal, Gather the Spirit.
With
call to worship is called The Longing for Something More by Gretchen Haley. The shadowed silhouettes of two people holding their hands together to form a heart. Every little thing that breaks your heart is welcome here. We'll make space for it. Give it its due time and praise for the wanting it represents, the longing for something more, some healing hope that remains not yet. We promise no magic, no making it all better, but offer only this circle of trust, this human community that remembers, though imperfectly, that sings and prays, though sometimes awkwardly. This gathering that loves, though not yet enough, we're still practicing, after all, still learning, still in need of help and partners, still becoming able to receive all this beauty and all these gifts we each bring. Come, let us worship together. Our chalice lighting was written by Barbara Merritt. Please join me in reading them if you wish to do so. Unitarian Universalists have said for centuries that there is room in our religion for all seekers. Skeptics and poets and scientists are welcome here, as are nonconformists and shy and uncertain folk. We believe that restlessness and doubts are a sign of grace, that the love of truth is the holiest of gifts. Good morning.
You'll remember me when the west wind moves among the fields of barley. You can tell the sun in his jealous sky when we walked in fields of gold. So she took her love for to gaze a while among the fields of barley. In his arms she fell as her hair came down among the fields of gold. Will you stay with me? Will you be my love among the fields of barley? You can walked in fields of gold. When we walked in fields of gold. When we walked in fields of gold. Ooh.
Each week, we hold in our service a time for acknowledging and sharing the joys and the sorrows that we bring with us into this community. It's during this time, if you've come with either a significant personal joy or sorrow, that you're invited to come down one of the side aisles, say your name into the microphone, place a stone in the water bowl, and share briefly your joy or your sorrow. Let us enter into this time of tenderness and trust.
I am Heather, and I'm so grateful to have a community that I can share joys and sorrows with. The joy is that I have a new position that requires a lot less travel, so I get to be home more. And my cat is very happy about that. The sorrow is that my brother lost his best friend, who actually lived in my neighborhood, to a house fire 2 weeks ago. And we had his celebration of life, and so many people came. And it was just a sign that he had really affected so many lives in so many positive ways. So thank you for letting me share.
Good morning. My name is Carolyn Farrell. I place 2 stones. One is the great joy of my life, spending with Louise, my wife. The second is both a sorrow and a joy that my mother has made the decision, which I'm so grateful for, that the time has come to place my father in memory care. So we are helping her with that transition, and I'll return to Florida this coming week to ease this time. So I'm grateful for your caring and your thoughts during this journey.
I'm Brad Kasiba. On Friday, my wife Dorothy Hammond had some strange visual symptoms, and we did the right thing and hiked up to the emergency room, and she's been at the hospital ever since. They're throwing every scan they've got at her. She had a small brain bleed on the outside of the brain. As brain bleeds go, it's minor, but they haven't figured out exactly why. So she's having one more CAT scan, and she spent the entire weekend hooked up to the many little electrodes on her head and a 12-foot leash. So as you can imagine, with no other symptoms than being bored, she's getting a little antsy, but hopefully we'll have some answers.
I'm Amy Maddox. My great joy is my kid Emily's performance as Princess Fiona in Shrek the Musical this weekend. She was so focused and dedicated even just to the audition process. And then when she landed her dream role, she delivered it with humor and vulnerability, and it was gorgeous.
My name is Al Howlett, and I'm here this morning because I have one brother, and he died this week at the age of 79. Couldn't have had a better brother than my brother Dick, and he accomplished many things. He had many strengths. I'd like to mention just one. He was part of the youth group at the All Souls Unitarian Church in Washington, D.C., and they took the Freedom Train down to Alabama and joined the march led by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. from Selma to Montgomery. And he was always a protester. He protested against global warming. He protested in favor of gun control. I'll miss him.
My name is Barbara Bibb, and I'm here to share with you that my partner Bob died on Wednesday. His death was unexpected and sudden, but not surprising because he had many chronic conditions. We met and started our time together as dancers. He was my dance partner. He could take me out of this world dancing across the dance floor, either floating or flying. He was wonderful. I lived with him. We lived together for 19 years.
Today, one of sorrow and one of concern. My uncle in California passed away after 2 years of battling cancer, so he's in a better place now, but my heart goes out to my cousins who have lost their father. My stone of concern is for my ex-husband who is having trouble with mental health issues. Everyone's trying to urge him to get help, and he's not really doing that. So I hope we can give him some prayers so that he can find the help that he needs. Thanks.
Hi, my name's Miranda. I placed 2 stones of joy today. Like Amy, my son Kieran auditioned for the piano part in the musical Into the Woods, and he just blew it out of the water this week in the show run, and I'm so proud of him for his dedication and his just real, as the kids say, locking in on getting it done, and the show was a real joy. My second stone is for my other son, Graham, who was accepted into a number of different conservatories, and this week, yesterday, committed to going to Oberlin Conservatory to study trumpet. Many of you have heard him play here, and I'm just so proud of his musical growth and his commitment to his talent and his passion in the world, and I'm excited to see where he goes.
I'm Shannon Tileman, and in the last couple of weeks I've marked the anniversary of my marriage 16 years ago and the death of my husband 10 years ago. And that's sorrowful, and I'm also just grateful for this community. I've forged a life anyway for my son and I here in Chapel Hill, here in this church. And I'm grateful to all of you for that opportunity.
I'm Mary LeMay, and my joy is in family.
A final stone is placed this morning for all the joys and sorrows that we hold in our hearts that were not spoken. Let us take a moment to hold all of the joys and the sorrows of this community, the joys and the sorrows that ripple beyond us, the joys and the sorrows of the world in our hearts. I invite you to be still with me for a moment. Our sung meditation this morning comes from the Buddhist tradition. We sing it through 3 times. May I be filled with loving kindness. May you be filled with loving kindness. May we be filled with loving kindness. And I think we'll stand as we sing this one. I invite you to rise as we sing 1031.
When longing becomes a path. This writing is inspired by Buddhist teachings on the Eightfold Path, and I developed it in response to this service. We are taught in so many ways to want more, to want better, to want endlessly, to believe that just beyond this moment lies the thing that will finally settle us. But the teachings of Buddhism whisper another truth, that this restless longing, this constant reaching, is not the path to peace. It is the source of our suffering. And still, we are not asked to harden ourselves, nor to shame the wanting heart. We are invited instead onto a path, the Noble Eightfold Path, a way not of erasing desire, but of transforming it. Right view opens the eyes. We begin to see how craving promises what it cannot give. Right intention softens the will. We turn gently from grasping toward compassion and self-compassion, toward release. Right speech, right action, right livelihood call us into alignment, into lives that no longer depend on the feeding the hunger that harms us and others, and here the path widens. For we are not only individuals walking alone. In UU communities, we remember the transformation of the self is bound up with the transformation of the world. To loosen the grip of craving is also to loosen the systems that teach us we are never enough. Systems that thrive on extraction, on domination, on endless wanting. To walk this path is to step, however imperfectly, toward collective liberation. It is racial justice work, refusing the lie that some lives must be diminished for others to feel whole. It is ecological work, releasing the hunger that consumes the earth. It is spiritual work, returning again and again to what is already enough. Right effort, right mindfulness, right concentration steady the heart, so that when longing arises, as it will, we can meet it with awareness, with tenderness, without being carried away, and over time, something shifts. The wanting may still visit, but it no longer rules. A quiet spaciousness opens where urgency once lived. And we begin to understand the path is not leading somewhere else. The path is the freedom. Perhaps this is what it means for longing to be realized. Not that every desire is fulfilled, but that the ache of wanting is transformed into a life that is awake, into a love that is just, into a peace that does not depend on more. And now it is time for our offertory. Freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit, and gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. If you wish to donate online, please point your camera at the QR code on the back of the order of service, and there is information on our church's website. We will now receive the morning offering.
Before the choir sings this piece, I want to let you know that the words to the poem it's based on are in your order of service on the third page. Thanks. It's called Message. I don't know what it's called, but it's something about Mother's Day card. But it is there. And it is like an early Mother's Day card to mothers. And I wanted to let you know, in the words of the composer, Saunders Choi, the inspiration for this piece. I collaborated with my good friend, poet Brian Sonia Wallace, and asked him to write a heartfelt letter to loving mothers who remained a refuge for their LGBTQ+ children. The line, "Beyond understanding, there lives laughter," was inspired by a conversation I had with my mom a few years ago after I came out. I remember her telling me that she didn't fully comprehend my journey of self-discovery, but she nevertheless remained a safe, loving space that allowed me to discover, navigate, and learn how to thrive as a gay immigrant.
I want to begin this morning by telling you a personal story of longing fulfilled. And I realized as I wrote it that it actually sounds a little boastful and a little braggy, but that's actually not the point. So if you think it's that, it's going to be a twist. So when I was 16, I experienced my calling to ministry. I experienced it as my soul's deepest longing. And in the presence of this longing, I figured out the path from where I was to the fulfillment of that longing. And then I launched myself into this journey with every fiber of my being. In high school, I went to every church service, every youth group meeting, and volunteered anywhere my home congregation would let me, and probably a couple of places where they rather I didn't. And the journey was just beginning. Next, I went to college and majored in religion, of course. In college, I became active in 2 different UU congregations simultaneously. One had services in the morning, and one had services on Sunday afternoon. And I also participated in a campus ministry group and a young adult group. My journey was underway. Next, divinity school. And while in divinity school, I did an internship at our denominational headquarters, a student ministry, a hospital chaplaincy program, a parish internship, and then another student ministry. The arrival at my place of longing was within my grasp. Passed my fellowship interview, applied to serve congregations. One chose me and I chose them and voted for me to become their minister. I got to wear a fancy robe at divinity school graduation and at the service of the living tradition and at my ordination, so many fancy robe wearings. I completed my first year as a parish minister and it went okay. I had arrived at the fulfillment of my longing. I had expected that this would fill me with joyous tranquility and deep, pervading contentment. But actually quite the opposite. I felt anxious and sad, and this made absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. I decided to consult with one of my mentors. He took me out for lunch, and I told him how I was feeling. I told him, for as long as I can remember, I've been chasing this goal, but now that I've caught it, I feel myself missing the chase. He smiled, looked at me, and said, Uvam, Vivendo, Varia fit. And then he explained what that meant. Uvam, Vivendo, Varia fit is a line of grammatically incorrect and nearly unintelligible Latin that appears in the novel Lonesome Dove by Larry McMurtry. Lonesome Dove is an epic Western novel that won McMurtry the Pulitzer Prize for Fiction in 1986. The novel involves 2 friends, 2 older men, Gus and Woodrow. These men had been cowboys, rangers, and as younger men, they lived exciting lives, passionately pursuing their purpose, and they had been successful. But now that all the outlaws had been rounded up and all the cattle rustlers driven off, they felt a sense of angst. As the novel begins, we meet Gus and Woodrow living boring, predictable lives in the boring, predictable town of Lonesome Dove. Gus and Woodrow had accomplished everything they had set out to accomplish, and they expected that this would fill them with contentment. But in the novel, quite the opposite. They felt anxious and sad and yearning. In the predictable, boring town of Lonesome Dove, Gus and Woodrow operate the Hat Creek Cattle Company. The motto of their business was Uvam, Vivendo, Varia fit. And in the novel, the motto mostly serves as comic relief. The Latin is often translated as a grape ripens in the presence of other grapes. But my mentor explained to me a looser and more contextual translation would be Uvam, Vivendo, Varia fit, living grapes do not cease to change. This personal experience that I had is actually not uncommon. Among writers,
there is an observed phenomenon called post-publication blues, where the publication of a book leads to feelings of sadness. Presses even warn authors about this feeling. One press posted on its website, "Is it normal for an author to feel sad after publication? Yes, it's completely normal." Many writers experience post-publication blues. Even well-established authors, like Stephen King, have admitted to feeling a sense of emptiness after completing a book. I've had friends of mine in academia report the same feeling after defending their dissertation or completing a significant research project. In my own family, last night was closing night of my child's middle school musical, and we're kind of expecting there to be a little post-production letdown. I wonder, Amy, Miranda, if you'll see that in your own household. In churches, there's an observed phenomenon in which a period of low energy, anxiety, and restlessness often follows the successful completion of an ambitious building project. That's actually not the phenomenon known as the edifice complex. That's a different church building related thing. Here in this university town, as we enter this season of graduations and culminations and completions and achievements, we might also be mindful that it is a poignant time, that feelings of emptiness and restlessness often accompany feelings of fulfillment. Maybe you've experienced what I'm talking about. Have you ever experienced a longing fulfilled, only to find that it did not leave you with a lasting sense of fulfillment? I hope I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one, am I? This year in church, we have been following a worship theme. Our worship theme has been longing. We've considered over the course of the year our longing for intimacy, our longing for ultimacy, for connection to that which is larger than ourselves. Considered the longing for peace and the longing for justice. We've considered the complicated nature of desire itself. How our lives originated in a spark of desire, how our hunger and our thirst literally keep us alive, how ambitions and dreams and passions inspire our art and take us to the moon, and how our longings can also manifest in deeply disordered ways, as obsession or compulsion or addiction or covetousness. A month from now, I'm going to give the last sermon on longing in this series. We're going to talk about the longings for this community. But this morning, this next to last Sunday in the series on longing, we're talking about what happens when we do get what we want. When I met with the worship ministry and talked about this service, a member of that group told me that there's a name for that feeling of emptiness when longing is fulfilled. It's known as the arrival fallacy. Miranda sent me a piece about this that explained longing in biochemical terms. The piece said, "The human brain is wired to want more. We're suckers for the chase. We struggle to be content. The neurochemical associated with wanting, dopamine, is much stronger than the neurochemical associated with contentment, serotonin." The article then went on to suggest that the way out of this trap is to focus on the process, the journey, instead of the destination. Becoming aware of the arrival fallacy, it said, should not be a downer. It's actually freeing. You no longer expect accomplishment or achievement to fulfill you. Instead, you start doing everything you can to find happiness, fulfillment, and energy in the process of pursuing your goals, rather than having false expectations about what will happen to you when you do or don't attain them. The author of the article quotes Robert Pirsig, the author of Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, as saying, "There is no Zen to be found on the tops of mountains. The only Zen you find on the tops of mountains is the Zen you have brought up there. Religiously, it seems to me that the arrival fallacy and our expectations of longing's fulfillment have something to do with our sense of time. Western monotheism and much of Western culture has a tendency to view the story of the world as linear. The world has a beginning and the world has an end, and all along the way we are actors playing a role in the unfolding of this story. This linear narrative structure is shared by millennial fundamentalist Christians who believe the apocalypse is nigh, and it's shared by progressives who insist that the moral arc of the universe is long, but it bends towards justice. We are here, there's a destination, and we are on the road to that. So many of our hymns in our repertoire sing about reaching a destination, arriving at the fulfillment of our longing. But there's another way of looking religiously at the nature of time. This is a way of seeing time as more of a circle than a straight line, as cyclical rather than narrative. This understanding of time is thought to be more common in pagan and earth-centered traditions, where the world is revolving, that we have cycles of living and cycles of dying, cycles of improvement and cycles of failing, and it all circles around again and again. All those cycles of birth and death and joy and sorrow. Perhaps there's also a third way, not the elusive goal out there or the fatalistic circle. Perhaps there is a third way, which is to focus on the process, to be present to the moment, to focus on what we are doing now without as much worrying about where we are headed or whether we might return. Uvam, Vivendo, Varia, fit. As the grape ripens, it continues to change. Through the seasons of our lives, we do not arrive at one point and find that the place where we are stuck. But we continue to grow, to change, and to move through life all of our days. So may it be. Our closing hymn this morning is One More Step, number 168 in your gray hymnal. And I invite you to rise in body or in spirit and join in singing.
To
Please remain standing in body or spirit. The words for extinguishing our chalice are in your order of service. Please join me if you wish to do so. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. Please join me in thanking all who made the service so worshipful. And now please join in singing Shalom. The words are in your order of service. Please hold hands with your neighbor or cross them over your heart as you are comfortable.